that we feeling on this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that we feeling on we heart? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that we feeling on this love? Somebody shout, oh yeah.
We're just waiting for him to connect to the studio. Yes, let's keep sharing it, keep talking about it. Let this go viral. The more you share it, the more you give it opportunity to go viral. Keep sharing it, keep sharing it, keep sharing it. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your time. For those of you connecting, no matter where you are, no matter the country you reside, we greet you according to your time zone, and we welcome you to this broadcast this hour. This is the African Portal Radio TV International. We are with one of our very own in the studio that we're going to be rolling this program together this hour. And I want to please to everyone joining this conversation. It's a great media icon, and we're going to be connecting with him shortly on this broadcast this hour. But before that, let's quickly enjoy this. It's coming up, coming up, coming up. All right. Yes. We really appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much for being here. Kindly introduce yourself to the listeners at home, who you are, where you are, and the position you. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners.
Thank you, Daryl, for this opportunity. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you for the good work that you're doing there at the African Portal Radio TV International in South Africa. My name is Adedamola TINUBU. I'm a broadcaster, and I've been in broadcasting for about 2.5 decades now. And I've done broadcasting on the network service of Radio Nigeria. I've been all around town from one station to the other in the Southwest. Right now, I work with the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria as a general manager of one of our FM stations in Ibadan. It's
all right, everyone. Thank you very much. That is the general manager of the Premier FM in Ibadan. Is connecting with us live and direct from their studio in Nigeria. The network is failing us on his side, but we believe that it will be fine. Just stay tuned. Let's enjoy these moments together. We're going to be having a beautiful conversation and a robust conversation with him. So if you are connecting with us, kindly share this program. Share it as many times as possible. Let it go viral. All right, sir. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, sir.
Hello, Daryl. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You can go ahead, sir. We can hear you. We are with you. All right. We are having challenges with the network on the side, but we're going to make sure that we get him on this program. Is overdue. We're supposed to have this last week Sunday, but unfortunately the network disappoints us. But we are right here right now with him. Let's see if we can just connect with him through a phone call. Then we can use that opportunity to speak to him, because the network is not that good on his side. Let's connect him with the call. Let's see if we can be able to establish a conversation with him through a phone call. Then we can have a robust conversation. But in the meantime, let's enjoy what we have in the studio. Let's enjoy what we have in the studio. Let's see what we have for you. Let's quickly bring one or two things in that we can give to you as an information.
Ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá ń jẹ oúnjẹ yẹn wọ́n mọ̀rí wọn mọ̀rí o, ọkàn wa máa ṣàdúrà, agbára àdúrà dé máa.
What
can't you do? What won't you do? Nothing impossible. Nothing impossible. What can't you do? What won't you do? Nothing impossible with our God. You.
All right, Derek, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Let's go ahead. Thank you for coming back. I think it's getting better now. We can see you live and direct in our studio here in Victoria, South Africa. It is a great pleasure to have a great leader like you and one of the great media icon in the continent Africa, and it's a great pleasure having you here in the studio. Kindly go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners at home.
Yes, indeed, it's a great pleasure to be with you, Daddy, one more time. And as I said earlier, I really appreciate you for the good work that you are doing out there in South Africa. I said my name is Adedamola TINUBU, and I've been in broadcasting for like 2.5 decades now. And I said to you that I've been around most of the broadcast outfits in the Southwest, both radio and television. I've done both private and government broadcasting. Right now, I work with the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria as an assistant director of programs. But right now, I am the general manager of Premier FM 93.5 here in Ibadan, Oyo State. But before now, I was general manager, Radio Nigeria Gold FM in Osun State. And that's just a brief of who I am.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Everybody will agree with me that we have one of the great icons in the studio today. And I celebrate what you have been doing in Africa, in Nigeria, and globally. You are one of the global icons that we respect what you are doing, and your job and your office call our attention. And that is why we are putting you on the spotlight on the African Portal Radio TV International to celebrate the achievement and also to talk about your achievement, how you get there, what are the challenges that you face before you get to where you are now, and what is the way forward from where you are now, especially when we are talking about the media in Africa. The media space is something that need a lot of attention, especially in Africa. So let me quickly take you to a journey of what is going to happen on this program this hour. We're going to celebrate you and appreciate you for the great work that you are doing. And at the same time, we're going to be talking about the media space at the 21st century. Let me just quickly give you opportunity to talk a bit about your background, where you're coming from, how you arrived to where you are, the lesson, ups and downs, ugly and beauty. Please go ahead and let the world know.
Well, I attended Polytechnic Staff School in Oyo State, and I proceeded to Olivet Baptist High School in Oyo. And then thereafter, I did my A-levels, lower 6 at Osun State College of Arts and Science. I get admission into the University of Ibadan in the year 1984, graduated in 1988, served in 1989, started work thereafter. But I had a brief stint at the Nigerian Institute of Journalism. I studied journalism at the PGD level, and then I did my master's in communication arts. I caught my first broadcast tooth at the Osun State Broadcasting Corporation in Osogbo. And then I was not a regular staff. I was not a permanent staff, and I was not satisfied with what I was doing at that time. I wanted something permanent. And so when an opportunity arose at the Nigerian Television Authority, I took that advantage. And I also was very hopeful that I was going to get a permanent employment with the Nigerian Television Authority in Ibadan. But unfortunately, I didn't after about 2.5 years. And then I heard about another opening at the first TV station in Oyo State, that's Galaxy Television. I went for the audition, and to the glory of God, I got the job there. I was with Galaxy Television for about 3.5 years, after which I heard about an opening at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. I also put in an application and I was successful. I joined Radio Nigeria in the year 2001. And the reason I joined was because I wanted to be a professional through and through. If you've heard about Radio Nigeria, this is the citadel of broadcasting, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. If you want to do broadcasting the way it ought to be done, then you must pass through Radio Nigeria. Most of the big names that you hear in broadcasting today, if you check their history, you discover that most of them passed through the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. Talk about John Momo of this world. He went on Channels Television. Even Adedamola, that great presenter of the former Broadcasting Corporation for your state, and a host of them that I cannot continue to mention their names. And so I wanted to be in Radio Nigeria, and then there was an opening, and then God did it, and I got into Radio Nigeria as a presenter. And I had a dream of reading the news on the network service, but that was the biggest thing for any presenter. All right. And I got that in the year 2005, thereabouts. I went through all of the trainings in record time. I did my basic presentation course, intermediate, and then the advanced training course. And I was qualified to read the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. You know what that meant at that time and what it means today. For you to be qualified to read the news on the network service of Nigeria, network service of Radio Nigeria, then it means that you must carry something. It may not be too big, but you must carry something that you can showcase. And so I was on the network service reading the news for about 7 years, after which I came back to the Southwest and I started my presentation chores and then moving up the ladder of management.
Oh, wow. So this is a very, very great achievement, and a lot of people listening to us, and I've been getting a lot of calls before this time talking about you, talking about your professionalism, talking about the achievements so far. Let's look at the media then and media now. What happened? What is the difference? What are we getting right? What are we getting wrong?
Well, people who did media or who did broadcasting in those days were thoroughbred broadcasters. They had the advantage of being trained by the British, and so they were prim and proper. They wanted to sound their words well. They had, in those days, what was called television comportment. There was radio comportment, and then you must know your onions. You must be there. You must know what you're doing for you to either appear on radio or television in those days. But today, for as long as you have what is called a good voice and you have a fine face, everyone thinks that he or she is qualified to be on radio or on television without proper training. So I think what's missing today is proper training of broadcasting staff and people thinking that they have arrived when indeed they are yet to arrive. So I want to advise budding broadcasters to take time out to ensure that they are well cooked before they begin to expose themselves to the outside world.
All right, sir. Let's look at that because a lot of people believe that as long as we can get to the TV, present, and that is all that's needed, and that is all we need to do. What are the things that one needs to have at the back of his mind before he say, I want to become a journalist? What are the things that one needs to do because before he said, no, I want to present a program or I want to have a program on the radio or on the TV?
Well, the number one thing that like we're taught in school is that you must have what is called aptitude. You must have the raw material. Before you produce a product, there must be a raw material. When we audition people in those days, we tag them as trainable. So if you must come into broadcasting, you must have something on the inside that you want to present. It will not require that it be fine-tuned or be trained to suit whatever purpose that broadcast outfit wants it to be like. So you must be sure that you have something that you can offer in the industry. All right. There must be what's called a talent. For instance, if you must be a radio personality, The minimum is that you must be able to converse properly in English. All right. That's the lingua franca. All right. You must have a good grasp of the language. And of course, you must be able to sound your words correctly. If it's on television, for instance, you must have a television personality. You must have good comportment on television. You must know how to carry yourself. You must have what is called charisma. There's an aura that surrounds you that you must have that would have the capacity to connect you with the audience or with the listener, as the case may be. All right. So you must have that raw material that whoever wants to hire you would look at and say that this one is really trainable. All right.
Okay. So let's look at your first time. You know, you been looking forward to it and you'll be expecting it to happen. But one day it finally happened. Now you are on the live TV, Nigeria, or the whole world is looking at you. This is one of the biggest in Africa. Your first presentation, how do you feel? And what does it mean to you?
Well, I had butterflies in my tummy. I was really afraid. I had not done it before. And I was conscious that I was being watched by this social number of people, and I didn't want to mess up. All right. But the beauty of it is that from the training that we had, if you have butterflies in your tummy, you must learn how to keep them in order. Now, fear is the raw material that you need to perform effectively. In fact, somebody said, if you're not afraid, then be afraid. All right. So you'll be jittery the first time. So I was. But by and by, as people began to watch me, I began to get some comments about the fact that I looked confident. But right there on the inside, I knew what was going on. So I was afraid. I was really afraid. But because I had it on my mind to make a career out of broadcasting, I took a dive into it, and the rest is history today.
So let's look at the space today in Ibadan, where you are alone. We have a lot of radio stations compared to what it is in the time past. I remember I grew up in Ibadan, and I know what it is. The BCOS is more, I mean, it's one of the radio stations that is so, but now we have a lot of radio stations. What is your view about this? Is this bringing the media space to kind of a level that people will not take us serious, or is it a good thing?
Well, it has its many sides. The fact that jobs are provided for graduates who have aptitude for broadcast journalism makes it a good thing that we have so many broadcast outfits now. But the flip side of it is that it has left room for a lot of unprofessionalism. I've forgotten what this term is again. You know, for people who are not properly trained. You know, it has created a room for that because people who establish radio stations now want to hire staff, whether they are trained or not. All right. There isn't enough opportunity given to people to get trained because employers are in a hurry, you know, to get people to work with them. All right. So that is the challenge that the proliferation of radio station has fetched us this 21st century. All right. So jobs are provided for the people, but again, we have a lot of quacks. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. We have quite a number of quacks in the profession now. People who are not well cooked, as I said previously. And that's the reason a lot of veterans are now complaining that the standard is falling, or that the standard has actually fallen totally in the broadcast industry. So I want to advise that even as we have a proliferation of broadcast outfits today, employers of labor should ensure that the people that they employ are the people, number one, who have aptitude for the job, and the people that are going to be taken through proper training and broadcasting before they begin to expose themselves to the outside world.
All right, sir. That is a very good one. You talk about the providing a job, but what about the less payments? Because a lot of people say that they're qualified, but the amounts given to them at the end of the month is nothing. Can we say that that is one of the problems that needs to be addressed as well?
Well, yes, pay needs to be addressed. Let me say this to you. You know, when I was coming to broadcasting, I went to see one of my father's friend, and I was trying to ask him some questions. He said, well, with this voice I'm listening to, I believe that you will do well in broadcasting. But they said one thing to me, said, don't look at the money. All right. Journalism and broadcasting, or broadcast journalism, is not the place where you make money, but it's a place where you make a name for yourself. And with your name and the aura that surrounds you, you can use that to make money. So I see broadcasting as a platform, number one, to sell yourself and to sell the talent that you have. But directly, you know, 60, 70% broadcast journalism does not give you the kind of money that you're looking for. That, but that's not to say that there aren't some people who are made big bucks, you know, but very few of them, not as many as we think it should be. All right. But one thing that broadcast journalism will do to you is that it will announce you to your world. It will announce your talent. You will have friends. You have a network, and that your network can lead to your net worth, because you meet big people along the way. You meet influential people along the way. You know, I used to have a friend, you know, on the network service of the NTA, Greg Clems. You know, we went to the training school together, and I met him in Abuja some time ago. And he told me how he got into Nigerian Television Authority as a network news reader. And for 1 year, he spent just 1 year on the Nigerian Television Authority. And thereafter, he became a big boss. From there, he got a connection with Emeka Anyako, you know, that's the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth. You know, that's the kind of thing that broadcast journalism will do for you if you do it well. It will connect you with high net worth influential people. All right. But it may not give you money directly. All right.
That is another thing that I think the generation today.
Yeah, so in line with the question that you've asked, not too many broadcast outfits pay well today. All right. And that's because, like we've identified, there's proliferation of broadcast outfits. And most of the people who establish radio stations and TV stations today are entrepreneurs who want to make money. All right. They rather think about making money first than making life comfortable for the people who work for them. But again, that's not to say that we do not have pockets of broadcast outfits, private broadcast outfits, and entrepreneurs who pay well. There are some of them, but there are not too many of them.
Investigative journalism is one of the things that is kind of fading out in our society. We don't have the professionals that can take over that space and be able to deep to get some information out before dishing it out to the public. Are you agree with that statement, or is that something that you think is not real?
Investigative journalism is risky, and it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of boldness, all right, for you to delve into investigative journalism. So if you want to go into that area, you must be sure that you have what it takes. You must be sure that you're ready to take the shocks, because if you're caught in the process of exposing a certain scoop, you know, that may constitute a lot of trouble for you. All right. So anyone who wants to go into investigative journalism must be ready for the kicks and the knocks that will come from delving into that genre of journalism. Such people also must be ready to get trained, all right, and
yes,
take all the risks.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm connecting with the MD of Pensioner FM in Ibadan. With one of the great media icon. That is one of the leaders of this space. Mr. Adedamola TINUBU is live and direct on the African Portal Radio. And I'm joining one of the senior colleagues as well in Ibadan. That is Otuba Babatude Tiamiyu, connected with us from Ibadan. Otuba, I'm so excited to have you on this broadcast this hour. And you know, when we have the senior colleague such as Mr. Adedamola TINUBU, we need to make sure that we took him around and we take a lot from his experience. Sir, I just want you to help me welcome him to the African Portal because you are the one that mastermind all this. So I leave the floor for you to please welcome him to this broadcast.
Thank you so much, my brother, Dari team.
Yeah, we are with you. Go ahead, sir.
Otumba.
Dari team.
Otumba Tia. 100 milligrams just okay for you.
Daddy, you are having one of the best when you talk about broadcast journalism. But when you talk about broadcasting generally, you are hosting one of the eggs that Nigeria has brought today as we speak. Mr. Adedamola TINUBU is my oga, is a colleague, is a friend. Our path crossed so many years ago as the first independent television in Nigeria, and that is Galaxy's Television KRM partner. It was one of my organic because I just went there just like a contract staff, so to say. But all of them, they welcomed me with open arms and put me through so many things. Then after so many years of parting ways, not officially, we now met again at Radio Nigeria by the zonal station, and it was I don't even know what the word to use to describe it. They have been so wonderful. We joke a lot, we talk a lot professionally. He gives advice, he assists you in whatever you want to do to make things easier for you. So I cannot just say, I can't find the right words to describe Mr. Adedamola TINUBU. When you are talking of broadcasting, you are hosting a period of broadcasting in Nigeria. One of the best hands, one of the best voices that you can ever wish to have in the profession. That's Mr. Adedamola TINUBU. You are welcome on Global Voice.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that. Sir, let's quickly do this. You have a lot of experience as a one of the senior colleagues, but Mr. Adedamola TINUBU is one of the people that have more experience. Let me put it that way. So, what question is been going on in your mind all this while that you know Mr. Adedamola TINUBU, that you have been looking forward to a day to throw that question? I want to give you that opportunity. Probably that question will help our listeners at home and the incoming generation.
Okay, I'll just ask you one question. Mr. Adedamola TINUBU, aka what is the secret of your professional ruggedness and commitment to broadcasting? That's my question.
I didn't get that.
What is your secret of this commitment to ruggedness and professionalism in the nation's broadcasting space?
Okay.
What's that that keeps you going all these years?
Okay. Well, I started falling in love with broadcasting in the late 70s and early 80s. And that time I was a lover of personalities on the Nigerian Television Authority. Number one, I loved the way presenters comported themselves on television. And most importantly, I loved the way a whole lot of them sounded, all right, sound on the line. I loved people who could speak English distinctively, sound their words correctly, and I still love them though today. And so I had in my mind a dream to be like them. And somehow, because if you have it in your heart, you have it in your hand, I started gravitating towards broadcast arts. Let me just say this to you, that it wasn't a thief. I felt I had all it took to come into broadcasting. I was an extremely shy person, but I want to believe that God has something for me. He had it, he still has it for me. in the profession. Now, the fact that I hear a lot of people acknowledge the fact that I carry something is a driving force for me. You have said it today, Tiamiyu. I do not know. I didn't know that time. I still do not know now that there's a voice that people love to listen to. But I hear this from a whole lot of people that when I come behind the microphone, my voice sounds well in their ears. And it has been an encouragement for me to push on. And of course, to encourage every other person who has that kind of talent to develop it. I wanted to see the upcoming generation also develop themselves to the point that they will become acceptable on whatever platform they find themselves, whether radio or television, or in fact, face-to-face public speaking. Let me tell you one thing. There's a great thing that public speaking does to you. It gives you confidence, it gives you network, and at the end of the day, puts money in your pocket. And life is fulfilling when you are accepted, all right, with what you're doing. So the acceptance that I received over a period of time that I didn't plan for, I want to believe has been my going force.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Otuba Tiamiyu, I hope you got that answer.
Yes, I have one more question to ask.
All right, go ahead, sir.
No, I wasn't expecting to field questions from Otumba. Otumba will ask for some jam questions there.
I was about to become a lecturer.
What did you say?
Go ahead, sir.
I want us about to become a lecturer now. How many millions do you have in your account?
How many what?
How many millions you have in your account?
Oh, the millions. Now for security reasons, because we're on a public platform, I'm not going to disclose that. It's very risky to do that on a public platform, you know. But when I see you and Daddy one-on-one, I'll let you know how many millions I have in my account right now.
Okay, the plan to the retirement, sir.
What did you say?
What is your plan?
Oh, my plan for retirement is to give back. I know I've already started trainings. I have training platforms. Remember that we had a training a couple of months ago, Newsreaders Masterclass, and another one is coming up shortly. That will be in June 3, on the 3rd of June, 2023. But ultimately, after retirement, I intend to have an academy where we were training budding broadcasters in news reading, broadcasting, public speaking, and anything that will make them sound well and be confident anywhere they find themselves. All right, that's what I intend to settle in for after retirement, and every other thing that comes my way that can make money. That will be the background.
All right, Otuba Tiamiyu, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. But before I let you go, let me just use this time to celebrate this great icon, and let me just use this time to tell him that, sir, you are doing a great job, and we really appreciate what you are doing. Actually, this program is not for question, it's to celebrate your achievement and to let you know that you are one of the people that many people are looking up to. A lot of people believe that your path and your achievement is something that they need to carry and they need to also follow. So we celebrate the great work you are doing in the continent of Africa and globally. And on the African Portal Radio TV International, this is a tap in the shoulder. We're living in a generation where people doesn't appreciate people when they are here. But we put it upon ourselves to change the narrative and to make sure that we celebrate people, we appreciate them, and we tell them to their face that well done for the great job that you are doing. And that is what this program is all about. All the questions that have been coming your way is just to get a little from you. And the main reason why we are putting you on the spotlight is to celebrate you, to appreciate you, and to say well done for the achievement and great job that you have been doing and that you will continue to do. Like you said that you are going to open an institution whereby you train people, during your retirement and in times to come. Sir, as we are dropping these great leaders as well, Otuba Babatunde Tiamiyu, Ozuba, in the absence of anything, I don't know, maybe you have anything that you want to say before I say goodbye to you so that I can continue with the conversation with this great leader.
I will continue to celebrate the Adedamola TINUBU as long as is a mentor, is a leader, is everything positive you can describe a human being. Fantastic human being, fantastic person any day, anytime. I appreciate his contributions on my career and every other thing that's been able to do for me and some others. How many milligrams?
I've told you 100 milligrams will be good enough for you. You will cruise with 100 milligrams. Just go ahead with 100 milligrams. Thank you. Let me tell you, Gary, that Otuba Tiami is also a great guy. I admire his humility. I admire the fact that he's not intimidated by anybody's success, and is one man who knows how to celebrate. And those who celebrate people will also be celebrated. I'm looking forward to a day that you also be celebrated in a big way. Thank you, Otumba. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, sir. That's a beautiful one. Thank you very much, Otumba. I really appreciate your time on this conversation this hour. Thank you so much for the love, and thanks for being here and being part of the African Portal. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. That is just by the way. We just have to connect with our very own in Ibadan as well to hear his own contribution and to hear his voice as well on this broadcast. Sir, something is coming on this program this hour, and that is we're going to be talking about the Yoruba language, the extension of our local language, especially in Africa. I want to take it beyond being in Nigeria now. I want to take it to Africa, because the African Portal concentrates more on the issues on the soil in Africa. It's not about question now. This is like elderly advice and your view about this issue. A lot of people seem not to so happy when we are talking about Yoruba language or broadcasting in our dialect or in our local language. What is your view about this?
Well, language is part of culture, and it's a way of life. And once you lose your way of life, you lose your identity. And I believe that's the reason the Yoruba race, is losing her identity. And you know, the sad aspect of it is that we're beginning to have people, foreigners from outside the world, importing Yoruba into their own land and exporting their own version of Yoruba to us now, and that's very dangerous. All right, so I am an advocate of us developing our language and encouraging the younger generation also to love the language and use the language. Otherwise, this race would lose her identity and probably will go into total extinction. We live in a generation where there are scramblings all around the place for a particular group's language to be predominant. You discover that there's a particular language that is spoken by the Asians. Now, I don't want to be tribalistic, all right? And that's not the case with Yoruba. There's a particular tribe now that is selling their language all over the place, all right? And you discover that in some of the Asian countries also, they insist on teaching some of the complicated subjects like mathematics and physics in their own language, you know, to enhance development. All right, so I'm looking forward to a time when Yoruba will be used in passing down instructions in the sciences, especially, so we also can grow in science and technology and mathematics and all of those complicated courses. So I am an advocate of developing Yoruba language. In fact, in this part of the world, I respect you if you're a crossover presenter. I'm also struggling to be a crossover presenter. I present programs in Yoruba. My colleague is looking at me. I have a program in Yoruba that I present. It's called the Keagba. All right. They say my Yoruba sounds like Yoruba Eko, but the most important thing is that I am also contributing my quota to saying that we do not lose this identity in our language, Yoruba.
All right, sir. You will be surprised at why I mentioned that. Nobody tell me about it. I just picked that up during our conversation. But sir, what are you doing in your own little space to bring this to reality in your time?
What's that? To bring what into reality?
What are you doing? What are you? I mean, you say you want to make sure that you do all you could to make sure that the Yoruba language or any of the language is still exists, especially for the coming generation. So what are you doing to make sure that we sustain and we keep the Yoruba language alive?
Charity begins at home. So when my children were growing up, I made sure that I got them CDs in Yoruba, folk songs. If you remember Jimmy Sholanke, Daddy Jimmy Sholanke, Uncle Jimmy Sholanke has a series of folk songs that he has packaged on CDs. I can't remember some of them, but they're very nice songs that they're just sing along for people who want to learn Yoruba. So I believe that taking care of my home, my immediate environment, is also contributing my quota to ensuring that at least if my children can speak Yoruba and they are proud to be Yoruba, they will also go out and tell other people that it's very important for you to speak your language and be proud of speaking your language. But I've started my own charity from home, and I want to encourage every other person to start that charity from home. Again, as I told you earlier, I have a program that is running that ran on my station before I left for the other station that I left for. It's called Ikeagba. That's the care of the elderly. And I presented the program for so many years in Yoruba, just to let people know that the fact that you speak English does not mean that you should not be proud of your mother tongue. All right. So I think that way on radio and to a large audience, I've told people that Yoruba is a beautiful language, and Yoruba is a language that everyone must be proud of speaking on any platform.
All right. With that, you are just opened the door for the Yoruba now to walk in. Now, everyone listening to us, this is where I'm going to be drawing the curtain when it comes to talking the foreign language. We are getting back to motherland. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sílẹ̀ Yorùbá, ojú òní tiwa ìbàjọ́ òní bá wa ẹ̀ ní rí pé sọ̀rọ̀ bí ò ṣe bí ọmọ. Ẹ̀yin tí wọ́n ní gbogbo àgbáńlá yìí tẹ̀ ń wò ètò yìí tẹ̀ ń ṣíà ètò yìí tí yóò ní ta. Ẹ bá bá ṣíà ẹ o. Ẹ wo èyí tẹ̀ wà nulí agbódo tẹ̀ ń bá mi tẹ̀ tó ń tẹ̀ tó ń dún tó ń dún tó ń dún tó ń dún. Tí yín náà ò ní ta lágbára ìdìbàrẹ̀. Agbámi ètò táwa yìí àgbà ọ̀jẹ̀ nínú pé à ń pèdè. Àwọn alágbọ́n sójú òpó ètò yìí. Ẹlẹ́rìí pé látàárọ̀ èdè Ìbólà ń sọ bí àjàkàrà. Ẹ má bínú torí pé wọ́n ní pé ká ṣe bó ṣe ń ṣe kó lè bá rí bó ti ń rí. Òun náà ló jẹ́ àgbà abala bẹ̀ wọlé, ṣùgbọ́n èdè wa àṣà wa kò sí nǹkan tó dáa tó. Èdè wa ò ní bàjẹ́, èdè Yorùbá ò ní kú láéláé sáàbàdà. Bàbá ojú òní ti yé bàjẹ́ òní báyé, àwọn kan gbọ́ yín wọ́n ní pé bóyá ẹ gbọ́ Yorùbá, wọ́n ní bóyá ẹ ṣe Yorùbá, wọ́n ní mo ní Tinubu kò sẹ́nà mi tó jẹ́ Tinubu lé ayé. Tẹ́ bá ti gbọ́ Tinubu Yorùbá ní Adedamola, òyìnbó ò lè já Adedamola láéláé, Yorùbá náà ní í jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ bá ń káwọn tí ń gbọ́ wa lé bàbá ká tó máa lọ kúrò lójú òpó ètò, ẹ bá ń kí wọn lédè Yorùbá.
Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ń gbọ́ wa jákèjádò ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà. Ojú tẹ́ fi ń wò wá ò ní fọ́, etí tẹ́ fi ń gbọ́ wa kò ní di. Ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ ń gbọ́ wa.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ojú òní tì yín ìbàjẹ́ òní báyé. Àpọ́nlé yín la wá ṣe lójú òpó ètò yìí, kò sí nǹkan méjì la wá ṣe lójú òpó ètò yìí. Ẹ ti ṣiṣẹ́ takuntakun, ẹ sì ti fi ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àpẹẹrẹ lélẹ̀ tí àwọn èèyàn ń tẹ̀lé. Èyí sì jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára nǹkan tó jẹ́ wípé a fi gbé yín wá sójú òpó ètò láti sọ fún yín pé ẹ kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun tẹ́ ń ṣe ní àwùjọ, pàápàá ní àwùjọ àwọn ọmọ kóòtù òjire ní gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé pátápátá. Ẹ sì ṣàlàyé fún wa nípa ìrìn àjò yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe dé inú iṣẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀. Bàbá, nígbà tẹ́ fẹ́ wọlé iṣẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀, ṣé nǹkan bíi fàkínfà wà láàárín ẹ̀yin àti àwọn òbí yín pé iṣẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀ lèmi ó ṣe o, ẹ ń wo àfẹ́ kó ṣe sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀, dókítà la fẹ́ kó lọ ṣe? Ǹjẹ́ irú nǹkan bá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láàárín ẹ̀yin àtàwọn òbí yín kó tó di pé ẹ̀yin ẹṣẹ́ ìláyò?
Ẹ ṣeun, mo dúpẹ́. Kò ṣẹlẹ̀ nítorí pé màmá tó bí mi lọ́mọ olùkọ́ ni wọ́n. Ó dẹ̀ yé wọn dáadáa pé tí ọmọ bá máa ṣoore láyé, wọ́n láti fún láàyè láti ṣe tí ọkàn ẹ̀ bá fẹ́. So wọ́n fi mí sílẹ̀ kí n mú iṣẹ́ tó wù mí láti yàn láàyò. Ìgbà tí mo sọ fún wọn nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ kà, wọn ò bá mi jiyàn. Wọ́n fi mí sílẹ̀. wọ́n dẹ̀ tì mí lẹ́yìn. Ẹ tẹ̀ jẹ́ sọ eléyìí fún yín, ìgbà tí mò ń ṣiṣẹ́ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó dàbí pé nǹkan ò fẹ́ jọra wọn ni bàbá mi wá mú mi wá sí Ìbàdàn tó ń fi mí lé ẹnìkan lọ́wọ́ tó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ ní iléeṣẹ́ gbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́. Ibẹ̀ ni mo ti ṣe nǹkan tó òyìnbó máa ń pè ní mini audition. Mo bẹ́ nìyẹn sọ̀rọ̀ ni, mi ò tí sọ̀rọ̀ ju ìṣẹ́jú mélòó kan lórí ti ní ohun tí mo gbọ́ yìí ohun ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ ni lọ gbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́. Ṣọ́rọ̀ mi yìí. So ohun tí mo sọ ò ní wípé wọn ò dá mi lẹ́kun láti ṣe ohun tí mo fẹ́ ṣe lọ́kàn mi, wọ́n tún ràn mí lọ́wọ́ sí ni.
Ó dà ẹ wá jẹ́ tabala bìkan wò ó torí tí mo ti torí ẹ̀ wọnú abala àbẹ̀rẹ̀ òní wípé a wà nínú ilé ayé tí ó jẹ́ wípé àwọn òbí kan wà tó jẹ́ pé tọ́mọ wọn bá ní pé ọmọ wọn fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan kan bí kan máa sọ wípé ò lè ṣe o bó ló ṣe lọ ṣerú nǹkan bá o. Kí ni nǹkan tẹ́ rò nípa ẹ̀, kí sì ni àmọ̀ràn yín fúrú àwọn òbí bẹ́ẹ̀?
Ó máa ń fa àyànmọ́ ọmọ sẹ́yìn ni. Tó bá yẹ kí ọmọ sáré ó lè máa rákòrò nítorí pé Ọlọ́run ti dá oníkálukú mọ ohun tí ó ṣe nílé ayé. Àwọn ìgbà míì wà tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé Ọlọ́run máa ń ṣe tó jẹ́ wípé a ti fi sínú àwọn ọmọ tó jẹ́ pé láti kékeré lọ máa ti mọ ohun tó fẹ́ ṣe, kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan tẹ́ lè ṣe láti fi yí ọkàn ẹ̀ padà. Nítorí náà mo ń gba àwọn òbí nímọ̀ràn, mo ń gbà wọ́n níyànjú wípé gbogbo ìgbà táwọn ọmọ bá ti sọ fún wọn wípé n táwọn yàn láàyò ní táwọn dẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣe tí wọ́n dẹ̀ rí pé ó ní agbára láti ṣe kán ràn lọ́wọ́, nítorí pé nǹkan tí inú ọmọ bá dùn sí láti ṣe òun náà ló máa ṣe tó dẹ̀ máa yege níbẹ̀. Káwọn òbí kí wọ́n má dá àwọn ọmọ wọn lẹ́kun láti ṣe tí ọkàn wọn bá fẹ́ ṣe. Ó léwu púpọ̀ torí pé mo ní tàn láti sọ.
Ẹ ṣáà wò ẹ ṣáà wò díẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ ṣáà wò díẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ kàn máa bẹ́ díẹ̀ nú ẹ̀.
Ó dà ẹ jẹ́ sọ fún yín pé ìkan náà àwọn ọmọ tèmi nígbà tó fẹ́ yan iṣẹ́, àwa rò pé bóyá nígbà tó wà ní school torí pé ó fẹ́ràn àti ṣe máa ya nǹkan pé kó lọ ṣe nǹkan tó ń pè ní architecture tàbí kó ṣe building technology tàbí tó bá tiẹ̀ burú jù kó ṣe civil engineering. Ó dẹ̀ rí nítorí òyìnbó ń pè ní admission, ó wọlé sí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga, wọ́n dẹ̀ fún ní civil engineering. Ṣùgbọ́n ó ti ń tẹnumọ́ fún wa pé iṣẹ́ olórin ló ń fẹ́ ṣe. Àwọn wò pé iṣẹ́ olórin bíi báwo tó ń pè ní music. A dẹ̀ sọ. Nígbà tó di bí ọdún mélòó kan darí pé kò gbọ́ mọ́, làwa apá tiwa náà jábọ́. Láì ṣe wá gbà fọlọ́run. Nítorí pé a rí pé kò ní ọkàn ẹ̀ ò sí níbi ní ta fẹ́ kó ṣe rárá. Lónìí sí ń tọkàn ẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣe òun ló ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Inú ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ń dùn sí, ó dẹ̀ ń ṣe dáadáa ń bẹ̀. Abẹ́rẹ́ báyìí.
Ẹ wà máa béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi wípé kí ló dé tí mo fi gbérù béèrè wá. Ṣé àkókò sọ fún mi tẹ́lẹ̀ pé nǹkan báyìí wà nílẹ̀? Yóò mọ ìyá ilé pé bíbo ni mo ti rírù béèrè yìí, kí ló dé tí mo gbérù béèrè yìí wá?
Àwọn ẹ̀mí ló gbé wá.
Àwọn màlẹ́kà ló gbé wá. Ìtọ́jọ́ ọlọ́bí wéwu, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín bàbá fún àkókò yìí lójú òpó ètò yìí. Ní tí mo wá ṣe lójú òpó ètò yìí náà ni kí n gbé yín níyì, kí n gbé yín lẹ́yẹ. Iṣẹ́ tó gbélé lọ́wọ́ nu pé kí n fi iye ọmọlúwàbí kí n fi wọ̀nyí, kí n sì jẹ́ kí gbogbo ayé mọ̀ wípé ògbóǹtarìgì tó dáńtọ́ tó sì jẹ́ ògúnnágbòǹgbò tí ń dákọ́ lẹ́nu ògbín níyín nínú pèdèpèdè àti nínú iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́. Èyí náà ni ó sì fún mi láǹfààní láti máa wí pé ẹ kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun, ẹ sì kú ìfọmọnìyàn ṣe. Ẹ kú kó lè dá o, ẹ sì kú gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí ẹ ti ṣe, pàápàá àwọn iṣẹ́ ńláńlá tẹ́ tún gbé kalẹ̀ láti ṣe fún àwọn ìran tí ń bọ̀. Ojú òní tì yín, ìbàjẹ́ òní pa yín, ní nàkàn tó kẹ́ tó rí kan lágbára Èdùmàrè. Inú mi dùn, ayọ̀ mi kún láti rí yín, láti gbé yín wá sójú òpó ètò yìí. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan gbà tá à ń séde òyìnbó, ẹ sọ pé iléeṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ Galaxy ìbẹ̀lẹ̀ ti. Mo rántí gbangba tá a wà ń bàdàn tó jẹ́ pé Galaxy ló kọ́kọ́ jáde tó bá ti ṣe sí, ó ní program kan tó wọ́n pè ní Garden City. Orí tẹlifíṣàn nílé ó ń lé lálọ́ dúró lójú wíńdò lé ó ń lé láti lọ mọ wárí láti mọ wo ètò káàkiri. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ò mọ̀ páwọn kan ni wọ́n wà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ tó fi ń dún. Adúpẹ́ pọ̀ lọ́wọ́ yìí lónìí, gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ti dìtàn, ó sì ti di èyí tí ó ti kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀. Bàbá lẹ́ẹ̀kan mo bèrè lédè òyìnbó, ẹ jẹ́ n bèrè lédè Yorùbá torí àwọn kan ń gbọ́ mi tán sọ pé àpá ń bèrè lọ́wọ́ bàbá yìí bí iléeṣẹ́ rédíò ṣe wá pọ̀ janturara tó wá di tọrọ fọ́kálé tó wá yapa káàkiri yìí, ṣé ìtẹ̀síwájú ni ó mú bá ọrọ̀ ajé àbí ìfàsẹ́yìn ni ó mú bá ìgbé ayé àwọn ènìyàn?
Ní apá kan ó mú ìtẹ̀síwájú wá nítorí pé ó mú ìpèsè iṣẹ́ wà fún àwọn ọ̀dọ́ langba tí wọ́n ní tán ní talent láti ṣiṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́. Wọn ò ní rìn jìnnà kí wọ́n tó rí iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n máa ṣe. Tabanka ní méjì báyìí, iléeṣẹ́ rédíò àti ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tó wà ní Ìbàdàn nìkan á ti tó bí 41. Ìtumọ̀ ẹ̀ ni wípé ẹni tó bá ní oore ọ̀fẹ́ àti máa gbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ kò lè rìn jìnnà kó tó rí iṣẹ́ ṣe. Lápá ibẹ̀ yẹn, iye àwọn ilé ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tá a ní tó pọ̀ jàǹtìrẹrẹ yìí, ó ní àǹfààní tiẹ̀. Ìdákejì ni wípé kò fi àyè sílẹ̀ fún àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ láti ní nǹkan tó rí ìbò ń pè ní training, ẹ̀kọ́ tó jinlẹ̀ dáadáa. Nítorí pé ẹ̀kọ́ tó yè koro dáadáa, nítorí pé iṣẹ́ làwọn èèyàn ń wá, wọn ò wá nǹkan tó lóyìnbó ń pè ní professionalism. Èyí tó dẹ̀ jà jù ń bẹ̀ ni pé ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká dẹ̀ ṣe lọ́nà tó jẹ́ pé ó dáńtọ́, tó pé àwọn èèyàn fi máa káràmásìkì tó máa ké dànsákì sí wa pé ọmọkùnrin ọmọbìnrin tẹ́ ẹ bá gbọ́ láfẹ́fẹ́, ẹ tún fẹ́ gbọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Ibi tó yẹ ká máa lọ pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn iṣẹ́ wa nìyẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n torí pé a ti ní oríṣiríṣi iléeṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tó pọ̀ jàǹtìrẹrẹ, kò sáàyè láti fún wọn nírú ẹ̀kọ́ tó yẹ kí wọ́n ní láti lè dáńtọ́ dáadáa. Ìdí èyí làwa ṣe ń tiraka láti rí wípé a gbé àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ kéékèèké kalẹ̀ tó ń pè ní sẹ́mínà káàkiri láti máa dá àwọn èèyàn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, àwọn tó yẹ pé wọ́n ìṣẹ̀fẹ́ wọnú iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tó yẹ pé wọ́n mọ tó máa ṣe, wọ́n mọ tí wọ́n máa ṣe láti jẹ́ ẹni tó dáńtọ́ lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ yìí. A gbé àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ kéékèèké yẹn sílẹ̀ tá à ń pè ní sẹ́mínà fún wọn. Lóòrèkóòrè là ń ṣe wọ́n, àti ṣèkan láìpẹ́ yìí, tèmi tó ń bọ̀ láìpẹ́ yìí. Nígbà tó bá dẹ̀ yá, tó bá dẹ̀ fẹ̀yìntì náà pẹ̀lú oore ọ̀fẹ́ Ọlọ́run, à ń gbàdúrà sọ́lọ́run ká lè ní àǹfààní àti dá iléeṣẹ́ tó yẹ pé yóò máa káwọn èèyàn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ sílẹ̀ lágbára Ọlọ́run.
Bàbá wa, ojú òní tì yín, ìbàjẹ́ òní bá yín, ẹ̀ sì ní rí ń gbé sọnù bí ó ṣe bí ọmọ. Ọ̀túnba Babátúndé tí Àmíyù béèrè ìbéèrè kan lọ́wọ́ yín, wọ́n béèrè ìbéèrè ní èdè Yorùbá. Ọ̀túnba fẹ́ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n àkókò wa ti ń lọ, a ní ìṣẹ́jú tó pọ̀ mọ́, olóòtú mi sì ti ranjú mọ́ mi, kó má lọ di pé yóò lọ fẹsẹ̀ pa microphone lulẹ̀. Nínú ìgbà àtàkókò tẹ́ bá ti jáde síta wípé ẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ àbí pé ẹ ríra yín bí agbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́, kí ni nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ jí láràárọ̀ gan tíṣẹ́ fi ń wù yín ṣe tẹ́ ẹ sì fi ń sọ wípé agbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tó dáńtọ́ ni mí? Kí ni nǹkan tó jẹ́ kíṣẹ́ ń wù yín?
Ṣe rí ẹni tó bá ń gbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́, ó máa ń ní ọ̀rẹ́ tó pọ̀. Ṣọ́rọ̀ mi yé yín? Àwọn èèyàn máa ń fẹ́ràn wọn, wọ́n máa ń lẹ́ran ọ̀fẹ́ lára. Mi ò mọ̀dí tó ṣe rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Nítorí ìbò ń pè ní acceptance. Bí ò tiẹ̀ sówó lápò, pé ó tiẹ̀ ríyàn tí wọ́n káràmásìkì, wọ́n ní òun wá kinní kan lọ wá pàdé yìí lọ́nà. Tó bá ní
òun owó lọ
wá pàdé yìí lọ́nà. Bó bá lówó ọ̀n tó ti ló fi rà, iyì náà ló fi rà. Àbẹ́ẹ̀ rí báyìí. Ara nǹkan tí iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ máa ń fúnyàn ní iyì. Ṣé mọ̀? Tí èèyàn bá jí láàárọ̀ tó mọ̀ pé tó bá ṣe ètò kan tó ṣe dáadáa, tàbí tó ka ròyìn tó kà dáadáa, wà á ráwọn èèyàn tó máa pè é tàbí tó máa fi àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ ránṣẹ́ sí ẹ wípé mo gbọ́ ẹ lénìí, ó ṣe dáadáa. Ó máa ń tún rú èèyàn sókè sí láti fẹ́ ṣe dáadáa sí ni. Ṣọ́rọ̀ mi yé yín? Àti wípé béèyàn ṣe ń lọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ sí yẹn, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lẹ máa darapọ̀ mọ́ àwọn tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n gíríkì láwùjọ. Ní èdè òyìnbó, mo sọ ọ̀rẹ́ mi kan tó jẹ́ wípé ó ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tá a mọ̀ sí NTA, tó jẹ́ pé àti bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ti ní ìbáṣepọ̀ pẹ̀lú alàgbà kan tá à ń pè ní Emeka Anyaku, tó jẹ́ pé ó ṣiṣẹ́ ní òkè òkun. Àti bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa ríṣẹ́ tó tóbi dáadáa. Tí ò bá lọ ṣiṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn, kó gbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́, kò ní pàdé ẹni. ẹni ẹgan ló ránṣẹ́ pé òun fẹ́ràn bó ṣe ń ka ìròyìn pé kó wá rí òun. Sọ̀rọ̀ mi ni kó tó dìgbà yẹn kì í ṣe pé lówó yẹn dání. Àmọ́ ṣá nítorí pé ó ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn ó dẹ̀ ṣe tọkàntọkàn ló ṣe rí ìbáṣepọ̀ pẹ̀lú ẹni tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ yìí. Sọ̀rọ̀ mi yẹn sọ ara tó máa ń rúyàn sókè náà ni pé bówó tiẹ̀ ṣe lápò báyìí owó ń bọ̀ lọ́la.
Bàbá torí àkókò wa ẹ jẹ́ ṣe kankan ẹ má bínú torí pé mò ń ṣe kankan ìjákulẹ̀ ó jẹ́ kankan tó jẹ́ wípé àwọn ìran òde òní wọn kì í fẹ́ gbọ́ pé kankan pé àwọn jákulẹ̀. Kí ni túmọ̀ jákulẹ̀ gan? Kí sì ni nǹkan tẹ́yin máa ń pè tẹ́yin bá fẹ́ wò pé tẹ́ bá ní pé kẹ́ ẹ sọ ìjákulẹ̀ kí ni nǹkan tẹ́yin máa ń tó jẹ́?
Ìjákulẹ̀ àwọn nǹkan tó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ sí èèyàn tó lè wọ́ èèyàn lẹ̀ lójú ara èèyàn àti lójú àwọn tó ń wò yìí wọn ní ìjákulẹ̀ tí wọ́n máa wù ẹ́ pé àbẹ́ni yóò mọ ohun tó ń ṣe ni. Ẹ jẹ́ n fún yín ní àpẹẹrẹ ìjákulẹ̀ kan nígbà tí mo wà ní Galaxy. Mo ń bọ̀ láti OSBC Ọ̀ṣun State mo kọjá sí NTA fúngbà díẹ̀ mo wá lọ sí iléeṣẹ́ aládàáni àkọ́kọ́ ní Ọ̀yọ́ State. Mi wá fọkàn sí iṣẹ́ ńlá tó wà ń bẹ̀. Wọ́n gbéṣẹ́ ńlá kan fún mi tó yẹ pé mi ò ṣe rí mo dẹ̀ láti ṣe fún bí wákàtí 2. Ṣọ̀rọ̀ mi yẹn mo wá dáfẹ́fẹ́ mo wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa rábàbà. Ẹ̀ṣà bá ṣe wà láfẹ́fẹ́ yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́ni tó níṣẹ́ ló ń sọ fún ẹni tó wà ní a máa ń pè ní video tape room VTR pé tell that man to leave the studio. Ẹ sọ fún ọkùnrin kó kúrò ní studio. Irú ìjákulẹ̀ wo ló tó yẹn sà? Tell that man to leave the studio. Ẹ sọ fún ọkùnrin kó kúrò ní studio. Kò ṣe tí mo fẹ́. Ẹsẹ̀ mi wọ́ kúrò ní studio ní sà. Kò yẹ kí n jẹ́ ní tó pẹ́ máa bá sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́yìn. Sọ̀rọ̀ mi yẹn torí pé ìbá ti sú mi. Ìbá ti rò pé bóyá mi ò tiẹ̀ ní kankan ṣe pẹ̀lú ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ rárá. Sọ̀rọ̀ mi yẹn nítorí náà ìjákulẹ̀ máa ń wá nígbà tí ẹyẹ ẹ̀dá ṣùgbọ́n tí ẹ bá mọ ibi tó ń lọ ìjákulẹ̀ máa ń jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àtẹ̀gùn síbi tí èèyàn ń lọ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìjákulẹ̀ ó ń ṣe nǹkan pàtàkì ó ń ṣe nǹkan bàbàrà bí ìgbà tí nǹkan kọjá ní ìgbésí ayé èèyàn ni ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ní ìjákulẹ̀. It's just a circumstance. Ó kọjá lọ ni ó dẹ̀ máa kọjá lọ ìgbà míì àtúndé.
Kò ní wà ń bẹ̀ títí láé.
Ìjákulẹ̀ ò lè wà ń bẹ̀ títí láéláé. Téèyàn bá jákulẹ̀ tó ṣubú wà á tún dìde ni. Ṣọ́rọ̀ mi yẹn eégún ṣubú sọ dídán ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá ojú òní tì yín àgbà òní tán lórílẹ̀. Ẹ wò ó ẹ̀yin tí buhari gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé mo dúpẹ́ pé òkú lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín pátápátá á máa bẹ ọ̀bẹ ní bẹ ṣìrán àtẹlẹsẹ̀ ní bẹ́ẹ̀ náà wò. Bàbá wa Adedamola Tinubu ọgbà ọ̀jẹ̀ nínú ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ àwọn náà máa bá nípọ̀rọ̀ jomitoro ọ̀rọ̀ láti bí wákàtí kan sẹ́yìn tí wọ́n sì ń ṣàlàyé ìrírí wọn àti àwọn ipa tí wọ́n ti kó ní àwùjọ wa. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí buhari gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé ẹ bá bá ń pàtẹ́wọ́ ayọ̀ ẹ bá bá ń fún ọ látẹ́wọ́ ayọ̀ ní gbogbo ibi tó wà wùkẹ́ ẹ máa bá wà ẹ máa bá ń pàtẹ́wọ́ ayọ̀ kẹ́ bá wà pàtẹ́wọ́ ayọ̀ fún wọn wípé wọ́n kú iṣẹ́ wọ́n sì kú ìfọmọnìyàn ṣe. Ìgbà àtàkókò tí wọ́n ti lò àtèyí tí wọ́n tún lò kò ní dìbàjẹ́ ojú wọn ò sì ní ríbi lórí ilẹ̀ ayé. Gbogbo tẹ́ fàárọ̀ ṣe tẹ́ fọ̀sán ṣe tẹ́ tún fi alẹ́ tẹ́ falẹ́ ṣe kò ní bàjẹ́ o kò sì ní dàrú lọ́wọ́ yín. Ire báyìí lójú owó rí ire nílé yín ire lọ́dẹ yín ire ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ bá wà. Mo fẹ́ fún yín ní ìṣẹ́jú kan ẹ wà lórí afẹ́fẹ́ ẹ̀yin lẹ wá lètò yìí ẹ wá fẹ́ sọ fáwọn èèyàn wípé ó dàbọ̀ bíi pèdèpèdè bíi ọ̀gá àgbà tá owó bóyá ibi náà ti rí kankan jí mú nínú rẹ̀. Ó yá ẹ jẹ́ gbé spotlight ẹ bá sọ fáwọn èèyàn kó dàbọ̀ bí bí sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀.
Mo fẹ́ kọ́kọ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Dáre fún iṣẹ́ ribiribi tó ń ṣe ní African Portal Radio TV. Mo tún fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọ̀túnba Tìámíyù fún àǹfààní yìí. Mo wá tún fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi ọ̀rẹ́bìnrin tó wà pẹ̀lú mi tó jẹ́ kí ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ kó ṣeé ṣe. Tẹ́bárí gbogbo àwọn oníṣẹ́ tá a tòjọ níbí báyìí ọ̀rẹ́bìnrin yìí ló jẹ́ kó ṣeé ṣe. Musúmọ́lá Joseph òun náà ni à ń pè é. Mo fẹ́ rọ gbogbo wa pé gbogbo tí ọwọ́ wa bá bà láti ṣe ká ṣe tọkàntọkàn ká má fi ìmẹ́lẹ́ ṣe ká ṣe pẹ̀lú gbogbo agbára wa. Mo nígbàgbọ́ pé nítorí pé Dáre ń ṣiṣẹ́ tọkàntọkàn òun náà ni gbogbo wa ṣe ń mọ̀ káàkiri àgbáyé báyìí. Ibi tí Dáre ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ ìbáyìí nísìn ẹ rí i pé gbogbo àgbáyé ni ó kárí ayé ni òun ni African Portal. Mo gbàdúrà pé Ọlọ́run ọba túbọ̀ máa tẹ̀ síwájú sí i. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ o tẹ́ wò wá lónìí o. ẹ túbọ̀ máa wo African Portal Radio TV o. Ire o.
Ẹ ṣe gbogbo èyí tí mo wà ní gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé, ire lójú owó rí, ire nílé, ire lọ́dẹ̀, ire ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ bá. Mo ti sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan nígbà tí mo ń dágbére kó lédè òyìnbó pé mo ò ní sọ èdè òyìnbó ẹyọ kan tí wọ́n fi kó lára afẹ́fẹ́. Ẹ tẹ́ bá ti gbé èdè òyìnbó lẹ́nu mi, a jẹ́ pé àṣìsọ ni ẹnu mi àgónú. Ìbájọ́ òní báwa ojú òní tó àrírí pé sọnù bí ò ṣe bí ọmọ. Bàbá ìwò, ẹ jẹ́ sọ kíní kan fún yín, nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn tán ti bí lọ́mọ, wọ́n ní dáfò ní ṣiṣẹ́ rẹ̀ láì ní kọ̀ǹdọ́, tẹ́ bá rọ́wọ́ ní kọ̀ǹdọ́ tó bá dún wájú ní bàbá rẹ̀ tí bá parí máwọn èèyàn lálẹ́ iṣẹ́ ló mọ́ la. Iṣẹ́ mọ́ ńlá lónìí mo kẹ́tọ́ tó dìbò fẹ́nu mi, olúbọ̀mọ̀ ti rí bọ̀mọ̀. Orúkọ mi ò yí padà, èmi náà ni ọmọ yín ọ̀rẹ́ yín olólùfẹ́ Yorùbá Olùsàn mo ìṣú àgùntàn Samuel Olúṣẹ́gun Olùsàn. Ọ̀pápá lèmi ọ̀pápá dábòtò fọmọkùnrin bọ̀lẹ̀ ọmọ sísè sùsọ̀ ọ̀hún. Káríbi kọ́lé sí ọmọ oníyàn ọjọ́ pàtàkì ìṣerúkú lẹ́lẹ́tò ojú orí tẹ̀jẹ́ láti lè yá mi ìlú pẹ́pà bí ẹ̀kú bàbá mi ò sí nílá ajásán. Tí bá ń bẹ́ lé àdúgbò ẹran fún mi jẹ́ ọmọ orí mo lùsì lèmi ọmọ ajífọ́ rẹ̀ ṣe tẹ̀jọba ajífọ́ tẹ̀ ṣe tí ó jẹ. Ìlú Ìbàdàn ló ti bí lọ́mọ Ìbàdàn ní Olúyọ̀lé ìlú Ìbíkúnlé alágbàlá olókòdó kẹ̀ríkẹ̀rí lójú ogun wọn lébọ̀ lẹ́yìn Jagunlabi lára wájú Ìbàdàn mọ́jà tó fi kára wájú lẹ́rú ọmọ agbósásá mọ̀sá ọmọ ayàyàyà báyà ọmọ tó bá bí ilẹ̀ Ìbàdàn tí ò bá mọ̀rọ̀ sọ ọmọ àlè Ìbàdàn ni nínú kó jẹ́ pé ìyá rẹ̀ wọ́n lọ gbóyún rẹ̀ wá láti fi kan ní àbí bàbá rẹ̀ pé ó gbóyún rẹ̀ fún fẹ́ǹsì. Ojú òní sì wá bá pàtẹ́wọ́ fún bàbá wa Adédàmọ́lá Tinubu àgbà ọ̀jẹ̀ bàbá mo gbóṣù bàbá fún yín. Ẹ wò ó ọlá tí la fi tọrọ ẹ̀yin lẹ́yìn àwòkọ́ṣe tá à ń tẹ̀lé tá a sì ń wò kò sì ní bàjẹ́. Ojú òní sì wá tẹ́mi náà bá ti wà lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà wó dọ̀dọ̀ yín ẹ lè pọ oró díẹ̀ nínú
àwọn náà bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ̀tàwá sí South Africa.
Kò sí wàhálà ilẹ̀kùn rẹ̀ ti ṣí tẹ́ bá ló yá láàárọ̀ ọ̀la ájúwe rẹ̀ sí yín ilẹ̀kùn rẹ̀ ti ṣí ẹgbà kó ti ṣe é ṣe ó ti ṣe é ṣe ojú òní sí bàbá tẹ́ bá ti dé oró díẹ̀ lára àwọn oró tó wà ní oko yín wọ́n ẹ̀ pọ̀ díẹ̀ sẹ́ni náà lẹ́nu tẹ́mi náà lè dá tọ́ bí ti sí.
Oró ti wà mẹ́tẹ́lẹ̀ tún ní olóògbé mọ́.
Ẹni.
Mo ló wà mẹ́tẹ́lẹ̀ kò tí ní ká foró mi síbẹ̀ mọ́ kó má lọ pọ̀ jù.
Bàbá kèé pọ̀ jù jẹ́ pé tá a bá ti gbà láwọ̀ yìí bàbá báyìí yóò dàgbà tẹ́pẹ́ fẹ́ni kóbì fún wa ni a kàn máa fi hàn àmọ́ tó máa fi. Ẹ ṣe gbogbo èyí tí wọ́n ní gbogbo àgbáńlá yẹ ẹja máa fi yìí ṣe lọ́kọ́ lójú òpó ètò yẹn pàdé wa nírọ̀lẹ́ òní ètò ó yà pa sójú òpó ètò yìí ẹ máa wo the African Portal èyí tẹ́lẹ̀ polówó ọjà yẹn mọ́kọ́ yà yín bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa yìí léṣẹ́ lápá yìí olóko kéékèèké ẹ wá polówó ọjà lọ́dọ̀ wa bàbá ẹ ṣeun o mo dúpẹ́ pẹ́ òkun lọ́wọ́ yìí mo sì dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn tẹ́jọ kọ́wọ́ rìn wá sójú òpó ètò yìí pátápátá mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo wọn pátápátá a máa ríra wa níre láyọ̀ àti lálàáfíà a máa fi ọ̀bẹ nú bẹ́ṣu àtẹlẹsẹ̀ abẹ́nàwó ire ayọ̀ àtàláfíà náà ní kọ́mọ jẹ́ tira Ọ̀túnba mo dúpẹ́ Ọ̀túnba ní so wonderful and so interesting kò ní bàjẹ́ Ọ̀túnba àjọ wà lórí ẹ̀ náà ni ire o ayọ̀ àtàláfíà kọ́mọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní kọ̀ọ̀kan wá pé ó dọjọ́ mi ó dọjọ́ rí ẹ máa fẹ́ lè jẹ́ ìgbádùn títí a fi pàdé lọ́jọ́ mi ọjọ́ rí ẹ máa bá ṣíà ẹ o ó jà.
That we feeling out this love. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that we feeling out we heart? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that we feeling out this love? Somebody shout.
A lè fi báyìí lọ gbogbo èròǹgbà ẹ̀ ọlọ́dẹ tó lọ́wọ́ fi ṣe.
Àlọ́ àmáàdá àbọ̀ àmáàdá kò ní sí ilé kò ní sí ní kò ní sí ìfẹ́ lè rárá lẹ́nu nípa pàráàmù àwọn tó ń ṣe ìwà lè máa ṣe ọwọ́ wọn máa nù.
Ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá ń jẹ oúnjẹ yẹn wọ́n mọ̀rí wọn mọ̀rí o ọkàn wa máa ṣàdúrà agbára àdúrà dẹ̀ máa bọ̀.
What can't you do? What won't you do? Nothing impossible. Nothing impossible. What can't you do? What won't you do? Nothing impossible with our God. You don't